Omega and William Ospreay kicked off AEW Dynamite this week, and Kenny came out to his battle cry theme, so we should turn him into an actual fighting game character. Sometimes he comes out to his new one, sometimes he comes out to his old song, and the whole time we can nerd out and guess. You can also argue that these two guys are the top babyfaces in AEW, so yeah, if you were writing your wrestling show, they should probably come out at the top. Also, hello my friends, my name is Simon Miller. Welcome to the only wrestling review show you need. Ups and downs, where we take my finger of power and I give the good bits an up, and I give the bad bits a down, then we all have fun down there in the comments. When I say we have fun, you yell at me, and I try and hug you, it all goes bad. Let's up those downs. Omega and Ospreay were going to have a big chat in the ring as well. The way William started this is by saying, Kenneth, I'm so happy you are back, and I'm very pleased you're not dead. You cannot say that. So Brad, I just want to say that I'm really, really happy you've come back to work and nobody tried to kill you. Well, now I think it was you that tried to kill me. Ospreay went on to say that he has actually come back at a bad time because John Moxley is running wild over the company, and while he will try and deal with him eventually, at the moment he has to get rid of the Don Callis family and Kenny Omega. You understand that, so maybe you should come and help me. So this was basically like bad guy maths when Ken just cut him off and said, Will, you don't remember the last time we met, do you? It was at Forbidden Door, where not only did you drop me on my head, but you also tried to stab me with a screwdriver. And yes, that is exactly what happened. I also absolutely love it when wrestlers do remember the past, because otherwise we're face-palming like, excuse me, there was an attempted murder, and that should stick in your head. When, I swear, Omega shouted out to the crowd, why? And somebody went, here's why. Now, admittedly, that was me, but leave me alone, damn it, I want to believe. Anyway, the point is, Omega knows that Ospreay did this because he wanted to prove that he was better, but here's the deal, you're not. Kenny Omega is the best in the world, and the only reason anybody gave a damn about you to begin with is because I went away for a while, so welcome back to being number 2. I was like, oh my gosh, Kenny Omega just cooked him. He also refused Ospreay's apology. This is when Real got right in his face and called him a prick when Don Callis decided to interrupt. I was like, Don, you don't like these two. If you were just giving it one more minute, they were gonna beat each other up. Once again though, Kenny wasn't messing around. He went after Don. Well, and of course, the rest of the Don Callis family was here when William decided, well, damn it, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or something like that, but he helped out, and these two were a dagger team. Now, because everybody was brawling here, and we got all the flippy-dippy-doo-dah stuff, just gonna be honest with you, it kind of felt like you were watching a Marvel movie scene, and it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, we were fighting in the crowd, we were jumping off chairs. Eventually, Brian Cage and Lance Archer came out. They were like, oh, we're big men, which is when Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay went, oh, is that true, Lance? And they threw him through a table. The Kester was then so offended, he was like, Kenny, I'm going to drop you on your brain, when finally the useless wrestling security guards decided to do something. But that is when Omega and Ospreay climbed up onto the balcony. They climbed up a structured thing, ring post, whatever the hell you want to call it, and they did these double moonsaults. And honestly, you need to go and see this with your eyes. They were so flippin' high. Just to get some Star Wars in there as well, Ken and Will then climbed back up there, so they did have the higher ground, when eventually Omega was like, you know what, they've just beaten some sense into me. Will Ospreay, I will accept your apology. That rhymes, so it must be true. And as we are going to Australia, let's do the big tag team match. Kenny also definitely said he was gonna bury Don Callis 6 feet under, so we whacked a 1 on the crime counter. But this was a great opening segment to Dynamite. And actually, when you go through the opening segments over the last year or so, well, it could be numero 1. Omega is just so great as well, because he was like, okay, can I please get down now, because I don't like heights, which makes him relatable. And honestly, if this tag team match does live up to expectations, we're gonna have a match of the year candidate. It is just so great having Kenny Omega back as well, and he does feel like a mega star. Will Ospreay is just an over babyface. The Don Callis are brilliant heels. So there it is, your wrestling recipe. Giving it up. We then got this great video reminding you of every single thing that Pac has done ever since he has debuted in AEW. And yeah, he's on a terrific run. And later, he is going to take on the Cope. Let's definitely not call him the Cope. That's even more ridiculous. We then did cut to the Death Riders, and I think somebody has given John Moxley the wrong information, because he said, Adam Copeland, you fell to sleep in 2011, and then you woke up in 2025, and you don't understand the landscape. I was like, John, he didn't fall asleep. You know what? Don't worry about it. He then mentioned the fact that AEW is full of weaklings, so they can just throw Cope on top of that pile. When they mentioned Bryan Danielson's neck, they mentioned the fact that Darby Allin isn't around anymore, And essentially John was saying, oh, hi, Adam, you have a bad head too, maybe I'll break it. Moxley also promised us he wouldn't lose sleep over this. Oh, thank goodness for that. Do you know how often I walk around my house stressed about John Moxley's sleeping habits? It's a lot, my friends. I got serious problems. When the Hurt Syndicate decided, hello, private party, we are going to destroy you. Good grief. So let us just get it out the way, because I'm a big fan of Mark Quent and Isaiah Cassidy, and if nothing else, if you break it down to a human level, it's just nice seeing two people live their dream. But this tag team title run was not very good. Like, they kind of vanished after they did beat the Young Bucks, and they had some mini feuds, but they really needed a proper program to sink their teeth into. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes you have to try things, and not everything can stick to the wall, but you also have to accept how it makes you feel as a fan. So I do believe we have to give it a down. With that said, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are so badass, and I can't really find fault here. They deserve to become the tag team champ. Now, Private Party did use their speed to begin with, which made sense, but Bobby Lashley was like, you do know I'm the most powerful man on the planet. Honestly, he wrecked these two, and honestly thought it was going to be a super quick squash. Benjamin then got hit with a silly string, but he kicked out at one, and even when Private Party tried double dives, they got cut off when Lashley went, oh, hello, Isaiah. And he didn't just throw him through Alan the Announce table, I mean, he chucked him with all his force. Mark then tried to fight on as Cassidy was being checked by a doctor, and this is when you knew either Private Party are going to have the biggest comeback in wrestling history, or someone's going to have to write a letter to their friends. I don't know what that means, but you know, if my friends got beaten up, I'd probably like to get a letter. What are we talking about? Everybody then got thrown into Barry Barricade as we got a bunch of German suplexes too. And I don't want to be an exaggerated gator here, but it did get a little bit uncomfortable. Once again, it's the Simpsons meme, stop, he's already dead. Isaiah eventually was able to get back to his feet after taking his Phoenix down. He did break up a cover, but even after a 450, they only got a 1-2-ooh. This was like my hairline 10 years ago. Nothing worked. Lashley then hit this massive spear. Shelton Benjamin got the knee and then took everyone to Suplex City German style. Well, yeah, Lash was like, I'm done here. He hit a mega spear that was just absolute death. 1, 2, 3. We even had Mark Briscoe come out here to check on Private Party. So he was being like, well, they're totally done. But it also means the Hurt Syndicate are your brand new tag team champions. And MVP on commentary was great here too. So this is the right direction to go, and you cannot deny that right now they're at the tippity top of the charts, and I want to see what we do here, and there could be a bunch of new teams for them to feud with, so I have no problem with this. Again, one of the best acts in AEW. It's getting it up. We then got this great video focusing on Mariah May, who is going to be taking on Toni Storm at Grand Slam in Australia. It was basically Mariah being like, this person is totally insane, and maybe the company shouldn't be supporting it. And I'm sure when we get to that show, Toni will return as the Timeless One when we cut to her having an interview here. And because that show is in Australia, and because Toni Storm is Australian, and because Harley Cameron is Australian, those two had an interview together where they talked Australian to each other and basically went, g'day mate, we're going to do a bunch of Australian words and nobody's going to understand us. Then they're going to get annoyed at me because that's the worst Australian accent anybody has ever heard. But I'll just tell you this, my friends, it's very entertaining. It then looked like Jeff Jarrett was going to talk to us when Karen Jarrett cut him off for understandable reasons. And she was like, yeah, don't forget what I told you. I didn't think you did a very good job last week. You were very rude. Basically, she was telling him not to lower himself to MJF standards. And Double J was like, listen, I get this, I understand. And he did indeed walk to the ring. He started to tell a story too, where he mentioned Jerry Lawler. I was like, well, I don't think anybody expected him to say that. The point is, he remembers a time early in his career when he was in Knoxville and he got his ass kicked by a couple of people to the point he said some nasty words on the microphone. When he went backstage, one Jerry Lawler was waiting for him. He just wanted to tell Jeff that you never want to get in the gutter with your opponent, which of course is what Double J did last week with MJF. So instead, I think Jeff has decided to kill Maxwell because he said, we will sort this Southern style. No TV, no lights, no cameras. So I guess he's just going to stab him in the middle of the night. Jeff also told the crowd that it was their love and their support which gave him the confidence to enter the Owen Hart Cup in 2024. And even though that didn't work, damn it, he's not giving up. And he does indeed want a world title shot. Now, given that he had mentioned John Moxley, the Death Riders music started to play, but you know the deal. Instead, Claudio Castagnoli appeared, and he wrecked this guy when he got a microphone. He was like, Jarrett, you don't understand the rules. To be fair, I didn't know this was the rule either, but if you want Moxley, You gotta go through me. Now Jeff didn't care about any of this because he retorted by saying, man, you know me, damn it. You're gonna have to kill me, otherwise I'll keep trying. I was like, Jeff, don't say that. They're called the Death Riders. They'll actually kill you and then probably, take your carcass and ride you around. Why do you think they're called that? Then they get a bit weird because apparently Jeff Jarrett decided to make his own path because he said, I tell you what, I will fight you next week, Claudio Castagnoli, and if I do beat you, I get the world title shot. What? But if that is the case, why isn't everybody doing this? And listen, I do want to shout out Claudio, because he sold this like, whatever you want, old man. You can't beat me. I'm Claudio Castagnoli. It worked. And I've really no issue with Jeff Jarrett going for the championship either. That will make a really good TV match. But I did kind of feel deep down in my tum-tum, I feel like there needed to be a bit more of a struggle. I really did enjoy this interaction though, and I just love how much people enjoy Jeff Jarrett these days. So I am going to give it an up. But yeah, it does feel like we've hit fast forward, and I was a bit confused. Maybe that's because I'm a bald idiot. I totally understand that, but like a Jedi, I must follow my feelings, and that's just getting a teeny tiny down. I mean, there just needs to be bigger obstacles, otherwise everybody can go, you know the catchphrase, geese title shot. For the people that don't understand that, just me being a moron, it's give me a title shot, but I shrunk it to geese, because geese are a good animal. I knew I should have stopped talking. When from nowhere we did get AR Fox versus Swerve Strickland, but if you are a nerd like me, you know this feud goes back years, all the way to Lucha Underground, and they just have such good chemistry, somebody should hire them to teach science. It also just meant that Swerve Strickland could look really good here, and that should always be the MO at the moment. Don't forget he had a terrific 2024, we want him to have a terrific 2025. And if we can push AR Fox a little bit, I ain't gonna get mad at that. He too is very, very good. We were also doing moonsaults to the floor and dives when Ricochet, the 1970s hitman, walked out, and he had these scissors, and I swear he was going to stab Prince Nana right in the face. This is when the prince went, I've actually got a big old pipe, so I'll hit you in the head. I do have to say this. I understand why Ricky did sort of back off here, but I hope soon he stops being a bit of a coward and we just turn him into a massive psychopath. Fox then went for a springboard, but Swerve totally murdered him when he called for the house call. Oh, not a good sentence. Now, of course, I've just remembered we have to put one on the crime counter because Ricochet did walk out and try and stab a man in the head, and this is when Swerve was like, you know what, I've done here. He got the flatliner, he did get the house call. When he got the stomp, 1, 2, 3. Now, him and AR Fox shook hands afterwards because they are the best of friends. And because Prince Nana and Ricky had vanished, all of a sudden, the camera person who decided not to ring the police went, I'm going to hit record because something very interesting is going down. And that's right, it was Rick with the scissors, and he had them pressed to Prince Nana's neck, put a 1 on the crime counter. I think Ricochet then said there's a new landlord in town, and the rent is due. So listen to me, my friends, if Ricochet ever offers you a place to stay, you turn him down, because you're actually going to be paying with your life. He then ran away, because he knew Swerve was coming. That was a little bit ridiculous. It's like, listen, Rick, if you're going to do stuff like this, you must carry it through. And I understand that's me saying, I want to see murder on television. I don't want to see that, but I need to see conviction. I really do like it, though, and again, if we can just make Ricochet a little bit more of an insane person, I think this new character will go through the roof, but I massively do enjoy it, because he doesn't even feel like the same person he did in WWE. That's good wrestling. Swerve Strickland is also the best, and I like this feud, and we're getting the match in 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm down for this one, although I am giving it an up. Once again, I could have picked better words. We then got all the recent highlights with Mox, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the Learning Tree from Collision. And given that they had lost, Chris Jericho was here. He was a bit of a sad panda. Now, Big Bill had some educational words, which when Jericho turned to him like, dude, I actually think you need to start doing something. And Billy Boy was like, damn it, you're right, I will. Therefore, he looked right into the camera. He said, hey, Powerhouse, you may have won the match, but you didn't beat me. That's because I'm bigger than you, so I challenge you to a big man slapping man meat match. They're going to do that Saturday on Collision. And actually right now, both of these guys are having a great 2025. I look forward to that very much. Which is when we learned that Tyler Shoop was in the ring. Honestly, he got a massive pop from me. I don't know who Tyler Shoop is, but he does have the best name ever in the existence of wrestling. Always remember as well, that if somebody wants to book me as an enhancement talent, you can call me Derek Manpower. Nobody else steal that because it's my name. That's a serious offer too. I will take a booking. Now, he was meant to face Hangman Adam Page. When he did get interrupted, it kind of begs the question why Maxwell Jacob Friedman did wait till this moment. Why didn't he do it earlier with Jeff Jarrett? Now, he did demand that Double J apologize to him when he made it clear. The only reason I picked you to win the world title, Jeff, is because I know that would be so easy for me, because wrestling doesn't love you anymore, and neither do these fans. That's going to be proven next week as well, when Claudio absolutely kills him when he said, hey, Jeff, rather than defy the devil, you should have made a deal with him. That's a pretty good line. And this is where this placement actually got really good, because just as he was about to leave, Hangman Adam Page's music did hit, and these two looked at each other, because that's what wrestlers love to do. But I tell you, these are the kind of matches that get me excited in my Tootsie Toes. I am totally up for MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. They will have what I believe we call a banger. Adam then totally smashed Tyler Shoop, so I was a little bit sad, but once again we established some stuff here, because not only did Page win with a non-buckshot lariat, that's right, it was a normal version, when he had got the 1-2-3, he hit the Angel's wings, so he's also established that as a move he will use in the future, and of course he stole it from Christopher Daniels after he murdered him on Saturday. Daniels then walked out after all of this and said, listen dude, I don't want to fight you. I made a terrible mistake when we did clash in the most dangerous match in AEW, to the point my doctors have now told me I can never wrestle again. So essentially that's the damn story, and it's a reality too. Hangman Adam Page just took his career. Christopher could not have put the cowboy over more either. As ever, Page just has the best conflicted face, to the point he got mad at the camera person and he shoved them out of the way. So while some people are pretending out there to be negative Nancy's and goes, oh, this segment didn't do anything, well, you clearly don't understand professional wrestling, because we actually took 4 things, we made a massive big deal out of it. And we got Tyler Shoop. And look, I'm not saying you had to like it, but again, that's just ignoring the obvious. And if we are headed to MJF versus Hangman Adam Page, with the winner maybe going on to the world title, well, oodalali, that puts a spark in my step, whatever that means. Also, Tyler, you're my guy. Up. We also need to take a pause here as well, because it certainly does sound like Christopher Daniels has retired, and honestly, 1, he went out by turning Hangman Adam Page into an even bigger killer, but 2, if you do not understand the influence he has had on the wrestling business over the last 20, maybe even 25 years, you have to go on a walk down memory lane. Christopher Daniels is an absolute legend. He's an absolute hero. While it makes me sound like a massive goober, I just want to say thank you very much. He did change the game, and he is getting his very own special up. I mean, that doesn't mean much, but it means something from me. So Chris, you all right. Mercedes Mone then told Renee Paquette she would like to be a traveling world champion, which is very good news, because AEW is about to have a show in Australia. As Toni Storm had encouraged Harley Cameron earlier too, she walked in and she had taken inspiration from the Honky Tonk Man, because she had a guitar and she was going to sing a song, because at some point in her wrestling journey she was like, I know what will get me matches: performing music and doing a bit of a dance. And the short version is, after a wonderful tune, Mercedes just went, the answer to your request for a match is no. I laugh. That is because Mercedes watches everybody, and Harley hasn't even won 1 match on AEW TV, so you don't get a shot at me. But this is like one of those small things that can turn into a big thing. Harley Cameron can get a victory soon. Everyone will go like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, when she can go to Australia, her home country, and you can do the Mercedes Mone match. It doesn't even matter if the title is on the line. She's not going to win, but Blink 182 sang about this. It's the small things. When Jamie Hayter did indeed get her win back over Julia Hart, this feud has been a little bit strange, because it has been chopped up, but I do like the fact we got multiple matches out of it. Jamie was so damn mad at her, she threw her into Simba the Still Steps when she drop kicked her for a 1-2-ooh, and Hart didn't like that, so she got to her feet, and she bopped her. She also swept the legs, so we have another Karate Kid fan in the house when Hayter came back with the back suplex. This is just one of those matches you could sit there and you're like, you know what, I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. So I did. They then smacked each other in the face before Jamie Hayter hit these terrifying German suplexes on Julia Hart. And I swear on one of them, she landed right on her head. And I got a little bit scared. She also applied the half crab, and you wouldn't want to see a half crab if you were walking down a darkened alley, which is when Julia managed to reverse that into an octopus hold. So I was like, hot damn, it's finally happening, January 2025. The octopus versus the half crab. Jamie Hayter then went for a tilt-a-whirl, but Julia was pulling at the hair, which was totally lost on me. I couldn't understand it. But she also got the bomb of power for a 1-2-ooh when she posed. I was like, Julia Hart, stop worrying about your meter. Did you not listen to me at all in 2024? Wrestlers cannot pose. I was right too, because Hayter took her med pack when she hit the hate breaker and she hit the Haterade. 1, 2, 3. Jamie got the microphone after this as well and said she's not here to butter somebody else's bread. And I was like, What? I thought that was the stipulation of the match. I thought she was going to get some toast. The point is, she respects Julia Hart a lot, but not when she tries to stab her with an arrow. I was gone, my friend. I was absolutely gone. She makes a very good point. The point is, their record is now 1-1, so whenever she wants the rubber match, Jamie Hayter is down with it. I guess we'll do it pretty soon. So I really liked all of this, and the reason is so simple, because the whole time it has been, well, I don't like you, and you don't like me, so maybe we should get in the ring and scrap. And I really hope we do a third, because 50-50 booking never helps anybody, but it also kind of feels like they've used each other to get themselves back on track. While that sounds a little bit like 2 + 2 = potato, hopefully you understand what I mean. Let's hope there's some good feuds waiting for them in 2025. Powerhouse Hobbs then told Big Bill he will be waiting for him in the parking lot, and if he does do that on Collision, he's going to get counted out. When we cut to Swerve, he was like, Ricochet, you tried to kill Prince Nana, so I'm not sure if I can wait 2 weeks. If I see you, you're going to die. When I do believe we got the most surprising news of the year. Because we got this video for the House of Black, and we saw Brody King, and we saw Buddy Matthews, and we saw Julia Hart, and I think they've turned Malachi Black into a dog. Because again, I saw these 3 people, and they had a pooch with him. So what else was I meant to think? So finally we do know they have magical powers, when Brody was like, oh man, we used to have a leader, but the leader isn't here anymore. I was like, oh, Malachi Black has left AEW. I didn't really think he'd been turned into a dog. I have to go. Now listen, if he is going back to WWE, I send him all the best, because I just want wrestlers to go where they're going to be happiest. They're human beings, man. It's not a big deal. They are now called the Hounds of Hell, though, which is a very good name, and they've got each other's back, and it's all about violence. There is so much you can do with this too, and given that the Hurt Syndicate are now the tag team champions, I would do them versus Buddy Matthews and Brody King, because they are the kind of matches I want to see. I already heard somebody go, no man, you can't do stuff like that. You can do whatever you want. We have the power. This was a very good vignette. I'm excited for these 3. I think done right, they could totally smash it. So it was a really good reset, and it basically did tell you that Malachi has gone away, so we addressed it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. In fact, even though it was super short but so well executed, I am going to give it an up. When we did get to our main event, and here you go, oh my gosh, they're just ex-WWE guys maniacs. It was Coke versus Pac in the battle of the one-syllable names, and my gosh, I thought they did a terrific job. The best part is just a difference in styles, because Pac is like super quick and flippy-dippy-doo-dah, whereas Adam Copeland, for lack of a better term, is old school, but my gosh, it just meshed so well. As they were fighting on the outside as well, Cope was just throwing Pac into Simba the Steel Steps and out on the announce table and Barry Barricade. That's why I wore my Wrestling Friends t-shirt today that you can get on ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller. The key word is friends, my friends, and we got to protect our friends. Nobody say friends that much. It also made me laugh because Pac then educated himself and he was like, well, if you're doing this to me, I'm going to hurl you into the ring apron. It's the hardest part of the ring. Pac was then able to hit a dive when Cope got Hope with a drop kick. No, that didn't work and I shouldn't have done that. When he just took Pac's head off with a lariat, that man did a little bit of a twirl. Now, he was able to get the Impaler DDT, but Pac was able to avoid the spear where he applied a version of the Brutalizer. But just as Adam was going to sleep, he woke up again, which is good, otherwise he would have lost the match. When he was able to get back to his feet, he just got German suplexed. That's when I'm like, man, these are good wrestlers, especially Copeland. He is 51 years old. I do not understand how he moves like he does. Pac was then able to relock in the Brutalizer, but once again, Cope would not stop fighting. And as soon as he had space between them, he speared Pac in the back. The way Pac sold that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen when he took a normal spear, when the former Edge decided, oh, I'm going to hit you with the TKO. I guess he's going to get that across his new finish. Kind of like it. 1, 2, 3. So I just had a great old time with this, and I always want interesting matchups. Like I say, I just had a good time. That's why I watch wrestling. The Death Riders, of course, flew out after this, although that's only a half-truth, because before they did come to the ring, we cut to the back, and they murdered the Rock and Roll Express. I'm not kidding you. Claudio Castagnoli got a chair, and he gave them a concerto. I think they are 70 years old. Nobody bothered to call the cops, and it also meant when we did get to the ring, Cope was basically 65 on 1, and surprise, surprise, the Death Riders beat him up when they started to choke him. This is when Jay White came out with the worst plan of all time, because he felt like, well, I don't care, there's 479 of you, I can beat you. Here's a news headline for you. He didn't, and he got whacked right in the penis. He then got choked out, and Cope got choked out as they made Jay watch. And when I laughed, again, because I am a terrible person, after Moxley had applied this, he was shouting, oh, I'm going to break your neck, Adam. When he didn't, and he just left. Moxie is supposed to be unhinged, but apparently he's also a very nice man. Now do not get me wrong, that was still properly messed up and sadistic. Once again, the way the Death Riders do this does make you go, oh my gosh, they're out of their minds. But I do have to be honest with you, I kind of feel like I've seen this one too many times. I mean, it did look like a crime scene, but it's become a little bit repetitive. And while the baby faces will come good eventually and get their revenge, you do need a little bit of hope here and there. At the moment, it kind of feels very, very dismal. I mean, Coke could bring hope, and that one rhymes, so dare I say it, sort of feels like we've fallen into a little bit of a pattern. I just think most people would have expected this, and while doing the obvious thing is totally fine, there's a reason why it is obvious, you can also cross the line, sort of where I kind of feel like we've got here now. Most episodes of AEW TV are sort of ending the same. So we just really need to light a fire under this. Given John Moxley's involved, I could mean that literally, but once again, I'm just going with my body and my brain. I do have to give it a down. I mean, you really do want Dynamite to end with you going, oh my gosh, and instead we're just kind of doing the same thing we did do before. So whatever the plan is, well, I'd skip forward a little bit. Once again, we just need a little bit of like, come on, you can do it. When we did get to the end of Dynamite, and like I say, it did end with a bit of a, whatever that means. But overall, I did think it was a very fun show. And maybe if we had taken the opening segment and had that as our last segment, that would have totally changed the feelings. Sometimes you do have to go what the crowd is saying, but I am going to give it an up. Ultimately, it's worth your time. Now, of course, please do let me know what you thought about last night's AEW Dynamite in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And bam, you can click this video that's on the screen somewhere. It's my ups and downs for Raw. It's not an opportunity for you to get mad at me. Mostly though, my friends, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. I will see you soon.